Have you ever looked in the mirror or caught yourself looking in the mirror and you thought to yourself, who am I? No, like, really, who am I? Underneath the clothes, underneath the daily grind, really lies a very critical relationship. And that's the relationship that you have with yourself. What if I told you that this relationship is not something that is philosophical, a concept, and it's really something that is deeply rooted both in spirituality and in science? In a world that is constantly pulling our attention and we are pulled so many different ways and we seek things outer, how about looking inward? When was the last time you looked inward to discover who you really are at the core? This self relationship is really the key that unlocks the door to every single relationship in your life. So, if you want to know a little bit more about how to unlock the key to your happiness, stay tuned. Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another Mindful Monday. I am your girl, your host, Erica Trimnell, also known as the Mindful Mistress, and I am just here to offer you a unique perspective, something that can help us grow. It's helped me grow and help so many of my clients, just offering a little change or a flip of the script, if you will. I love playing what some people might call devil's advocate to help us break the prisms of our own limitations. So today we are going to be talking about the importance of our self relationship. This is not something that I can stress enough. At the root of our self relationship is when we uncover the ego, the identities that are attached to our parents, society, all of these things which have created this beautiful prism. With some of us, though, this prism is like golden handcuffs. So today we are going to talk about how to unlock this, how to unlock a lifelong happiness by cultivating the relationship with yourself. So I want you, if you will, if this is available to you, I want you to maybe sit back, relax, settle into where you are. Maybe if it feels good for you, you can close your eyes. If not, that is totally okay. But maybe picture yourself in a vibrant garden and you're surrounded by all these beautiful blooms. Each of these blooms represent an area of your life, your career, your relationship, your health, maybe your achievements. I want you to think about what actually nourishes each of these aspects, each of these blooms, each of these flowers you see. Think about that. It's the soil. And the soil is your relationship to yourself. Now, I want you to sit in that for a little bit and maybe feel into what that soil feels like for you. What immediately comes to mind? What adjectives, what characteristics come to you when you think about your soil? Is it cool? Is it dry? Does it need water? Does it have nutrients? Is it lacking nutrients, some minerals? Do you have sunshine? Are you getting vitamin D in that soil? Think about that soil and just breathe into that. Again, this isn't about judging whether it's good or bad, whether or not we have nutrients or don't have nutrients, but it's just taking a landscape approach, surveying the land of what your soil looks like. And as you breathe and come back with me, maybe you want to jot down a few things that came to you about your soil and some of the things that you saw when you closed your eyes. This will be something really good to take back with you in your personal meditation practice or breath work. Maybe create a mantra around your soil and how you can improve it and what the best next steps are for you. So, speaking like spirituality, this soil is the essence of our being. It's who we are at the core, not what we see outwardly. And this is what really sustains us, and creating a relationship with this is so paramount, at least in my viewpoint. And coming from a psychological perspective, when you're able to align this concept of self and self relationship, it's really a collection of beliefs that we hold about ourselves, right? And from that standpoint, those beliefs have core beliefs and core values. And this is how we do anything. It's based on what we believe in the stories that we've been telling ourselves or the stories that we've accepted to be true. So, a strong and positive, healthy view of self or self concept is really essential for not only your mental health and overall well being, but your life satisfaction, how you view yourself and your relationship to everything that is around you. Remember, we are energy beings. We are vibrating at different frequencies. We're emitting different frequencies, and we're also taking in the frequencies in which we find ourselves in. So while we nourish this spiritual side of ourselves, it helps us better connect to that which is in our environment, including the people, and then connect really to your essence, to your purpose. And so without having this rich, nourishing soil, you then start to see cracks or maybe it comes out as miscommunication with friends or family member, or you're not taking care of yourself. So then, of course, you're not taking care of the things around you, or you're giving people all of the 10% that you have left and you're not refilling your cup, which leads to, we all know, stress, which leads to dis-ease and chronic disorders. So it's so critical how you take care of yourself and how you develop a relationship with yourself. It truly is the soil. It truly is the foundation of, like I said, everything we do in our lives. And then how that foundation is nurtured or created right through your own spiritual connection, whether that is source, God, Allah, whatever you want to call, is how we get that to be strong. And that's how we can flourish our relationships and even cultivate a deeper sense of self. So really thinking about ourself and how it has a profound profound effect on the relationships really helps us to understand how the past shapes our present experience. So each of us carries a story and experience and lessons from these experiences, which help dictate us and how we move, the patterns we've created, the behaviors we have. And when we think about this from, if we want to go into like neuroscience and how our brains have specific pathways, we have created these pathways because of our life experiences. They are chemical changes that happen in our brain because of it. And there are also physical changes that happen based on our life experience. So if you have been a member of this channel and you know that I talk a lot about childhood trauma and our ability to be adaptive and have neuroplasticity, understanding how this can create the very formation of how we view ourselves in our relationship. So if, for example, if this was not modeled to you when you were growing up, what a relationship with self looks like, what self-care looks like, then it's likely that you maybe have struggled with that and you thought that your self-worth or self-validation came from external relationships, external sources. But as we learn more information, right? We only can work with the information that we have. As we learn more information, we realize how important it is to really discover what self is for us, and taking off the mask, taking off the identities, we can create new neural pathways. So our brains are incredible specimens, if you will, because they are so adaptive. And so this adaptiveness of our brains is called neuroplasticity. And so this means that regardless of your situation or upbringing, we have the capability, not all of us do, go this route, I'll say, but we have the capability to change the patterns that were instilled in us when we grew up. These patterns that maybe were developed over time or got reinforced by certain narratives or certain experiences or situations, you always have the ability to change it. Now, I'm not going to say that this is something that is super easy to do. Sometimes it takes a life-changing event, like maybe becoming a mom or getting into a significant relationship, and you realize that you've been mirroring what you saw growing up. And for whatever reason, that's not working for you. Personal example, my mom, I she was the superwoman, and she could get things done, and she always made things happen. And from the standpoint of finances, whenever there was something that I wanted or needed, she made it happen. She figured out a way. Now, I don't know all how she figured out that way, right? And as a kid, I told myself a particular story about how you go about this. Now, I'm in college, got my first credit card, I got that refund check. Guess what I did? I'm sure you already know. I replicated that, right? Something I wanted. Oh, we live next to the mall. And your girl was out there shopping. She was spending that refund check. She was getting all the things. She was charging up cards because I'm used to you want it, you get it, kind of by any means necessary. So I didn't understand the repercussions and what I was doing to my future self, who was going to be deep in debt. A few years later, and realized, oh, I got to pay student loans back with interest. So that beautiful Tiffany necklace that I bought myself is cost me way more than I thought I thought it would. But again, as we learn more, we can make different choices. Now I know the impact that I have when I do go out and make said purchases, or I do have that want. I can align that with maybe what's in my bank account now, right? Or what I'm comfortable spending as opposed to what I saw, if I wanted it, I got it. And there was no talk about, oh, well, we have to sacrifice or you have to work or you need to pay this off. So again, just an example, I'm using finances, but how this can be essentially replicated in every aspect of our lives. To give you another example, I had a client of mine, and we'll call her Sarah. So Sarah was a habitual overthinker, which I can totally relate to because in my younger years, I was Sarah. And Sarah really believed that it just was simply her nature to be an overthinker. You have those people who are like, this is just how I am, accept me for how I am. But as we worked together, one of the things that came up for Sarah was this was much deeper. Sarah grew up in a home where she felt invisible. And so the way to make sense of everything that was going around her was that she had to create this story. And this was often feeling overwhelmed when she felt invisible. But so by taking back control, meaning she can overthink and create whatever story she wanted to create. So through working with Sarah, through coaching, through reflective journaling, we did some family constellations, she realized this overthinking wasn't just her or her instinct, but it was a learned behavior, a shield she used to protect herself from the pain she felt from being invisible as a child. So as she began to really heal these wounds, not only did it changed how she showed up in the world, but it gave her a sense of peace and calm. And she was able to be reflective in those moments where she started to overthink situations without having all the facts, right? Because generally when we overthink about something or, we've assigned certain meanings, certain narratives to different people, not knowing their life story or situation, where they're coming from, and only using our own perspective. And in that, it invalidates the perspective of the person in which we're communicating with. So by realizing that this was something she was doing from a learned behavior, from a wound, from a trauma, if you will, she was really able to reclaim her joy of life, being able to accept things as they were without creating this big story in her head that oftentimes felt just so overwhelming, so insurmountable to overcome because, she's gone from 0 to 60 and doesn't even really have the data to start at 0. So some things that we can do to help cultivate a relationship with self can be really small things. It doesn't have to be something that is huge. And that's something that I want to explore with you today. Maybe you want to incorporate some of these things. And if you do, let me know in the comments. Would love to hear how it works for you. One of the things, of course, is doing doing a little meditation, maybe spending 5, 10 minutes focusing on an anchor. It could be your breath, it could be your feet on the floor. Science says that mindfulness can really change and help build the neuroplasticity we have in our brains. But I also want to be mindful is when you are doing mindfulness exercises that things can come up for you. So mindfulness can trigger and in some instances be counterproductive unless you have a safe container, you're working with a coach or a guide that can help you walk you through these or practice what these kind of landmines might look like and work on some in the moment strategies on how to diffuse them. So mindfulness is something that of course I promote, but I promote it with a caution or an asterisk next to it because again, it could bring whatever is deep within us, some things that we didn't even realize that we were holding on to, and it can bring it to the surface. And if you're not ready for that, it can be a traumatic. It could re-traumatize you essentially. Another thing, one of my favorites is daily affirmations. Again, if you follow me on social media, there's an affirmation like every other day. I believe in the power of positivity. Again, because the way our brains are wired, most of us are wired with a negative bias. And so that means we're looking for inherent flaws, not only within ourselves, but within other people. And so if we can work through affirmations on creating a positive bias and rewiring our brains, then we're able to build not just a positive relationship with ourselves, a positive relationship with those that we want to be in relationship with. That's a huge caveat there, right? Another thing I really like to do is just take an assessment, a values inventory. I regularly like to check in with my values. Now, I have a stack of value cards that I like to use, and just going through what are my core values? Because when I understand what my core values are, I can then tie my actions, beliefs, patterns to these core values. And when I'm faced with a situation that is maybe new to me, I can use my values to help navigate me through the particular situation or a new opportunity presents itself. Well, is this going to bring me closer to my values or is this going to bring me further away from my values? Now, it's great to have values, but values without boundaries is almost pointless because you need to protect your peace. You need to protect what is essentially your core, your energy, your essence. And you do that through boundaries. You do that by nurturing your inner self and saying, this is what keeps me whole and full. These are the boundaries I have, and this is how I'm going to protect these boundaries. Or these are the values I have, and these are how I'm going to protect these values through boundaries. Now, we all know, I'm sure have experienced the saying or heard the saying, hurt people. And that really goes to show how our self-relationship really has a deep and profound impact on those that are around you, the relationships that we've cultivated, whether it's friendships, whether it's partnerships, any ships that sail, situationships, entanglement ships, whatever, that plays a huge part in it. So when your relationship with yourself is not in harmony, then your relationship with others not in harmony. So when you are in harmony with yourself, it creates a ripple effect. So psychologically, the self-harmony can reduce the level of stress. Your cortisol levels, your stress hormone decreases. Your increase patience, increase your understanding. It increases your openness. It increases your empathy. It just increases your vibrational energy, attracting more positivity to you. Just like you walk into a room or someone walks into the room and they have bad, negative energy, whatever, you just feel the heaviness of their energy that impacts you. So just like you are a light and you walk into a space, you can you could spread your light into a dark space. So again, your self relationship has an impact because you can go in that room and light it up. And then people who were feeling down feel better by your presence. I'm sure you've probably walked into a room or had a situation where people are just like, you know what? Your smile, you being here has just calmed or soothed my soul. I hear this all of the time, but it's because of the work that I do on myself, right? To change who I am and to continue to evolve and grow that relationship that I'm able to deeply connect and hold space for other people. You can't hold space for other people if you don't have space for yourself and you're not pouring into yourself. So embarking on this more introspective journey, again, is a switch from what society and a lot of our family members where it's all outside. This journey might, again, bring out some past, some old wounds, some triggers, some limiting beliefs, maybe some defensive mechanisms that we have been utilizing and have actually been holding us back. So remember that these things are actual blessings. They are teachers, they are guides that help us in showing us where areas of our areas of our life need a little extra love and maybe a little extra neuroplasticity. So maybe a little meditation on those things can really help you transform those areas and transform your life. I have walked this path myself, so I know how challenging it can be, especially when you feel like it's an area that you've worked on and then a new relationship or situation comes or opportunity comes and you feel like you're right back at square zero. Well, you are not, because this is deep. What we see on the surface is like that iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much underneath when it comes to our relationship with self and how intricate it is tied to our past experience, our parents, communities that we grew up in, all of these things. But know that this path that if you choose to walk, it can be incredibly rewarding. And when you emerge on the other side, because I know you will be so much more aligned and so much more fulfilled in happiness and a bliss that I really can't even put into words. I feel like the English language doesn't do it justice, but know that I am here to support you and we can design a program that meets your needs if you want some extra help. Again, I have a lot of available free resources that you can utilize to help you on your journey to cultivate self-love, self-respect, and then watch how all of the relationships in your life drastically change. Let's change the narrative of what lifelong happiness actually is from the elusive dream of tangible realities to an inward job where you have the tools and you have the wisdom and you have the science that backs up what your future can look like, having fulfilled, successful relationships that you then start to see things manifest in the 3D, in this material world as well. I invite you to take one of my meditations to maybe help you cultivate this relationship. I invite you to connect with me. I invite you to share things that you struggle with, share your wins or your success, because this is a community. We all learn from each other. We are teachers and students at the same time. I appreciate you being here with me this beautiful Monday. Have an amazing week, and may you love yourself first so that you can love others. Bye.